Good day, mother MSers, father MSers, kid MSers, friendly MSers, all kinds of MSers out there. Uh, Today is my life with MS edition of the Under the Call of MS podcast. If you're here for the comic books and entertainment, movies, video games, stuff like that, check out my other videos. This one is for people with multiple sclerosis, or people that deal with someone with multiple sclerosis, or people that just want to learn more about multiple sclerosis. Fine, you're welcome to watch the show, but let you know if you're looking for the other style shows, there's a lot of those out there, so I'd go check those out if I were you. This can get pretty, get into some nasty talks, some bodily function talks, and stuff like that. So may not be your cup of tea. Also, if you are watching this, don't take my word for anything. Always talk to your medical staff, your PCP, your neurologist, your regular doctors. Ask them about something that you may have heard that interests you that you want to know more about. Uh, Otherwise, it's just me looking over stuff that gets sent to me in emails and the regular mail and stuff I come across on the internet or whatever, and I just look it over and talk about it, give my opinion on it, and what I've dealt with it if I have dealt with the items I'm talking about or whatever. So yeah, that's basically what this show is. So I just like to go over things that happen to fall in my lap. Otherwise, they just pile up in my folders and I never get to them. So this gives me an excuse to actually look over stuff that has come to me and set aside anything that I might want to talk about in the near future. They have a whole thing about some new biomarkers going on here that they're hopefully going to be able to do something with in the future. Uh, but when it comes to things like this stuff I don't like going too deep into because it's future medicine. So things change so much over a short period of time. I just like to basically bring things into people's uh, attention of what is happening out there, what's going on and stuff. But let's see, I just disregarded the whole main part of the article because it just kept on going on about uh, different programs, different, what do you call them? Poke myself in the eye, ain't I? Basically, studies where medicines are getting tested and you're doing this placebo compared to the regular medication and all that, and seeing how many people react and how they react in different ways and stuff like that to different things they're trying. Several That's like several other biomarkers have entered clinical use recently and are in late stages of evaluation, so that's a good thing. That means they are close to deciding whether or not they will be using them for anything else in the future. The Octave Multiple Sclerosis Disease Activity MDSA test examines 18 biomarkers to assess the likelihood and severity of disease activity. And researchers are also studying a number of individual fluid markers, including glial fibrillary acidic protein, GFAP, a filament in astrocytes, the central nervous system, CNS cells that support neurons. Following a brain injury, GFAP is released into the cerebrospinal fluid, CSF, and the bloodstream. So yeah, that's I don't know what those numbers represent, because there's nothing on the bottom of the page or on the other page that's set up with numbers. Oh, it looks like just number 13 is in small markings on different things here. There's chemokine CXC motif, uh, ligand 13, which is CXCL13, a small protein that acts as a signaling molecule to attract B cells to the central nervous system. And that's good, hopefully that the B cells aren't attacking that person's central nervous system. That would not be good, but I could be wrong. I thought it was the BN T cells that were attacking us, but it may just be the T cells, but I don't think that's right. I think it is both, because when I did my Maven clot, I could have swore it wiped out both B and T cells. There's chitinase or chitinase 1, CHIT1, a marker of inflammation in the microglia, immune cells that monitor the central nervous system for signs of damage or harmful substances. So yeah, any type of thing that can bring down inflammation is a good thing. There's also chitinase 3 like protein 1, which is CHI3L1, which is expressed by central nervous system cells and is a marker of microglial activation and ongoing damage. I'm sorry if I yawn, but for some reason I yawn a lot when I'm doing these. I think it's because of the reading. Numerous MRI measures can also be assessed, including those looking at enlargement of existing lesions, total brain volume, and the volume of functional, which is referred to as parenchymal tissue in the brain, while some, such as evidence that a previously identified lesion is becoming larger, are important to clinicians in their decision making. Others are more relevant for research purposes. And if you had your MRIs, that's what they look for, is if there's more lesions that appear, or if the lesions get bigger, then they have to take different actions in our uh, condition. Let's see, this next thing is partial list of current and potential biomarkers for MS. The first ones listed are those seen through imaging using MRI, optic coherence tomography, OCT, and visual evoked potential, VEP testing. Second biomarkers listed are those found within bodily fluids, also referred to as humoral, and often relating to antibodies and immune responses. And both of these types of biomarkers represent promising areas of research aimed at diagnosing MS earlier and determining prognosis of one's MS more precisely, and pinpointing optimal treatments for each individual with MS. So this probably has nothing to do with people like me with secondary progressive or people with primary progressive. It's probably more focused on people with relapsing remitting MS and CNS, and now they have the relapsing remitting MS thing. I forget what it's called. Got like 3 new classifications for multiple sclerosis now, which I think is a little ridiculous. I figure the 4 we had was plenty. Even if you added 1 or 2, that'd be fine. But continually coming up with more names for this stuff is, yeah, it's like now I got NR SPMS, which is non-relapsing secondary progressive MS, which I don't have relapses. I don't. what I have is just here to stay. And if I get anything new, it joins in the party also and sticks around. So I'm not sure about if the biomarkers would be any benefit to anybody that's beyond relapse and remitting. But who knows? Like I said, I'm not a doctor. Okay, the imaging biomarkers are MRI central vein sign, which is a small vein running through the center of a brain lesion, indicates inflammation and demyelination, and supports diagnosis of MS. You got MRI gadolinium enhancement, gadolinium enhancement. White enhanced regions on MRI following injection of the contrast agent gadolinium indicates an active lesion with inflammatory activity. Then we got MRI location of lesions, correlates with types of symptoms a person is experiencing or likely will experience, helps to classify type of MS, identifying lesions in multiple locations can help fulfill McDonald criteria for dissemination in space. The McDonald criteria. uh, MRI paramagnetic rim lesions. MS lesions encircled by a thin, dark rim of iron-rich cells, marker of increased risk for disability progression and brain atrophy. There's optical coherence tomography, non-invasive procedure that uses light waves to examine the retina and measures its layers and structures, and that I can identify optic nerve inflammation and help confirm the diagnosis of MS. I'd like to ask my eye doctor if they do that at all. And I get the light test where they flash the light on my eyes. I'm supposed to pick out things and stuff like that, but I don't know if that's the same. I just recently went and got my eyes tested and found out I got cataracts that I'm gonna have to get burned out or whatever taken out. But we're gonna wait till next year. And then visual evoked potential testing is non-invasive test that tracks brainwaves to assess a person's visual pathway, which consists of the eye, optic nerve, and brain. Abnormal findings can indicate optic nerve inflammation due to MS or other causes. And then the rest of these are fluid biomarkers. We got the AQP4-LGG test for antibodies to aquaporin-4 or AOP4 can help shift diagnostic focus from MS to neuromyelitis optica spectrum disorder NMOSD. And there's cerebrospinal fluids CSF, LGG index measures an measure of immunoglobulins, disease-fighting glycoproteins, also known as antibodies, in the spinal fluid. Elevated levels reflect abnormal immune activity in the central nervous system and can help in the diagnosis of MS, although other potential causes must be considered. Then there's chemokine C-XC motif. And then there's ligand 13, which is CXCL13, protein that acts as a signaling molecule to attract B cells to the central nervous system. Emerging biomarker being assessed for use in MS monitoring and management. Then we got glial fibrillary acidic protein, GFAP, a filament in astrocytes, which are cells that support neurons, released into the spinal fluid and blood following a brain injury. GFAP is a newer biomarker being evaluated for its role in monitoring MS. Then I got JCV antibody testing, which is a test for antibodies to the John Cunningham virus, or JCV, which in rare cases can lead to a potentially fatal inflammatory brain condition known as progressive multifocal leukoencephalopathy, or PML, used to determine a person's status when considering starting certain disease-modifying therapies whose immunosuppressive effects may increase risk for PML in people with JCV antibodies, which are usually tested for that stuff before taking the medications that have the PML possibility. Then we got MOG-IgG, and this one tests for antibodies to myelin oligodendrocyte glycoprotein, MOG. A positive result can indicate that a person experiencing a demyelinating event has myelin oligodendrocyte glycoprotein antibody associated disease, or MOGAD, rather than MS. Then we got kappa free light chains, or KFLCS. These are small proteins in immunoglobulins. Levels can be increased due to chronic inflammation in the central nervous system, as occurs in MS and other neurological conditions. Then you got the neurofilament light chain, NFL, which is proteins released into the cerebral spinal fluid and blood flowing damage, and blood following damage to axons. The projections at the end of nerve cells that transmit electrical impulses. Serum levels of NFL can be used to predict MS outcomes and monitor response to therapy. And there's oligoclonal bands, which are clusters of immunoglobulin proteins in the CSF that can indicate chronic inflammation. Elevated levels support a diagnosis of MS after considering other possible causes. And there's a huge variety of biomarkers, and I got some stuff I want to look up now because I keep all my MRI scans. Any scans I get, I keep MRI, X-rays, CT scans, anything I can get my hands on that was tested on me. I like to have for future reference and being able to look at stuff myself and compare it to other years and all that stuff. But this gave me a couple ideas of some things I want to look at also on my last MRI. But the way it was, my last MRI seemed to come out all right. No enlargement or uh, new lesions, the way it sounds. But I have not gone over it myself. I'll take a detailed look at it. But I mean, the doctors know more than I do. I'm not a professional. I just like to look over things that have to do with my condition and just make sure I don't find something different, especially when you're dealing with all the other things that are non-MS related that I got to deal with between the aortic dissection and stuff like that. I got to watch for those things, but that I can't really see anything on. I always try and see if I can see anything in that region through the scans of my spine, but you can't. You got to get more detailed area shots. But my cardiologist, I've got scans from him too that relate to things that I deal with, so I can over those scans also, uh, see if uh, because I still have problems with that whole aortic dissection thing. It's like I do have issues that reoccur that happen with that whole situation. Uh, I've had doctors tell me that area isn't compromised. I've had doctors tell me that there's a scar there. We scan every so many years to check that scar. And I've heard that the scars got larger, so that means it tore open again and crusted up a little bit differently or whatever. But yeah, it's really hard to trust people, and you have people telling you completely different things. It's like I've had probably 5 different cardiologists in the past 15 years or so, and every one of them gave me a different diagnosis for certain things. So it's like I personally think I had a severe MS hug. The doctor that wouldn't listen to me because this was pre-diagnosis for MS, even though it was many years before it, and both me and my wife mentioned MS because we were checking the symptoms over ourselves, and he just shook his head and went, kind of laughed at us, and sent me for a heart test. Everything came out fine for the heart test, but yet I got sent to the Mayo Clinic, and then I was told that I'm bleeding internally in a curve on the aorta that cannot be operated on. So I'm going to bleed to death in the Mayo Clinic. It's like, wow. You go from one thing to the next level, to you're going to die any minute. It's like, what about the things that we talked about? It's like no one wants to listen to us, but yeah, I don't know. It's it's hard because these doctors are playing God in their own way and operating on things that are so tiny and vulnerable and could easily damage stuff while you're cutting into someone. It's just, yeah. And it drives you nuts when there are those options. You may get cut open and all this, but no one listens to what you have to say. And it's like, I get it for veterinarians that can't speak dog or cat language, but I'm a human. I'm telling you how I feel. I'm telling you what I've dealt with in the past. I'm not blowing smoke up your ass. I'm telling you the way it is. And you're just ignoring me completely. I mean, that makes no sense to me. I mean, I get it. Veterinarians need to stick a finger in the animal's butt just to decide whether or not the animal's okay. But don't stick your finger in my butt and tell me my eyes are messed up or I got a brain issue or something like that. It's like, just listen to what I have to say. I've been dealing with it most of my life. I mean, the severe overall body pain, the fatigue, the gait issues, all that stuff I had it pretty decent, pretty severe for a good 20 years prior to diagnosis. But I lived through life with it, fought through it, got really tired of it, and just dealt with just too much with it. But to the point where I finally had to go in for another doctor thing and then finally get diagnosed. It's a, it's a crapshoot. And then the things they tell you they're doing, it's like you don't know. I got a knee doctor that tells me 50, when I hit 50, I can have surgery. I hit 50, and they're like, nah, now it's 60. It's like, I know I'm never going to get the surgery, but I can't even bend over to clean my cat's litter box. I can get one scoop. By the time I get to the second scoop, my knees are locked tight, whether they're bent or straight. And I basically got to crunch the bones just to stand upright so I can walk out of there. And that makes no sense to me. And why you would let a person go through that. I'm obviously completely bone on bone. And so you're just having me chip the bones more and more, which is leaving more bone chunks in my knee area, which get caught in the damn kneecap. They get caught in between the bones. It freaking hurts. It hurts a lot. And they're like, oh, I want you to exercise and do this. And it's like, do you understand? I'm in severe freaking pain. And if we could at least go in there and do something, it would be a whole different atmosphere then. I mean, if you could make it where I could get certain things done, I'll come to therapy 5 days a week if need be, and we'll exercise and make sure that the thing uh, benefits my movements and stuff like that. But if you expect me to do some major workouts and stuff when I'm completely bone on bone with chips floating around and constantly having pains and issues with it, well, that's pretty freaking stupid. It is. It's really stupid concept to live on that philosophy because if I was a 350-pound linebacker and I blew my knee out, you'd take me right into surgery and fix me up. What's the difference? Just because he's getting paid $1 million and you got killer insurance? I mean, fuck. I didn't do this to myself, but I want it fixed. I mean, I did have a jackass in my late 20s, early 30s. I can't remember when it happened. When he came out on the dance floor and kicked my knee out. It's like, you can't blame me for that, but now both my knees are completely destroyed because they never worked on the one. It's like, okay, I see how it is. Just let this guy just suffer until he can't move. He'll be in a wheelchair. And I'm not looking forward to that because at least when I walk, it's severe pain and stuff. But when you sit, severe pains you can get from just sitting, I no, I'm not looking forward to that. It's, I don't know. But speaking of being cranky, I got some explanations for why people get in really bad moods. Uh, let's see. This one is talking about burning the midnight oil. People that like to brag about their ability to function on 4 or 5 hours of sleep, but they don't realize there may be a connection between sleep deprivation and crankiness. It can lead to depression and anxiety, uh, make it difficult to fall asleep and stay asleep at night, or they can come as just being a result of not sleeping enough. They say you should aim for 7 to 9 hours of sleep a night. Keep your room at a comfortable temperature. Turn off lights and elevate sound to improve the quality of your sleep. This morning sucked. I to close the bathroom and bedroom door because the light coming in was right in the face. I laid there for about an hour and a half and then finally said, screw it. 'Cause the cat was getting pissed at me, constantly moving around on the bed. So I said, screw it. Got up, and now the cat's sleeping all afternoon. Keep your room at, oh yeah, room temperature, comfortable temperature. Consider using a face mask and earplugs. That's not a bad option. I could see. I might have to pick up a sleep mask and just try that once. Uh, just see what happens. See if I can sleep with it on. Earplugs, I don't need to worry about those. The noises, I'm used to everything now that we're on a busy street. My bedroom window is right there by the street. And it's like you got the gas station across the street, so you got semis and dump trucks and everything else coming through there. Then the car wash across the street, that's the biggest annoyance when it turns on the air blower fan at the end of the car wash and they drive out. Listen to that freaking thing all night long. I can't wait till winter gets here and it doesn't run anymore, even though I don't want winter to come. Being hangry, hungry and angry at the same time, that can do it. Just make sure to eat 5 to 6 balanced meals or snacks a day to maintain a healthy blood sugar. Wow, I'm not eating no fucking 5 to 6 meals a day. And I'm not hangry, but I just like my one meal a day and then just snack on something earlier if I get the hunger. Eat more healthy, unprocessed foods such as fruits, vegetables, lean meats, and whole grains. I agree, but a lot of our healthier foods lately are the ones that are coming up with salmonella and other issues and recalls and all this crap. So it's like that's not a good sign. And I worked in a canning factory. I know how disgusting it is. You can say what you want. Yeah, it's a messed up system that we have with our foods. Avoid junk food and fast food, which may also contribute to crankiness. They may satisfy you, but they have little nutritional benefits. Caffeine is fuel. You don't have to give up caffeine altogether, but reducing your intake may elevate crankiness. Caffeine can cause nervousness, headaches, irritability, restlessness, a fast heartbeat. It's that time of the month. Uh, while menstruating, you may often experience a sudden decrease in the hormone progesterone or progesterone a few days before the beginning of periods, which can trigger anxiety, agitation, and bad moods. Similarly, menopausal women deal with lower levels of both estrogen and progesterone. Gesterone. If you're menopausal, take a look at your lifestyle and see what changes you can make. Exercise, sleep, meditation are all things that can help. You can also talk to your doctor about hormone therapy. Underlying mood disorder, being cranky and irritable can also indicate a mood disorder such as bipolar disorder or depression. If you can't pinpoint the reason for your bad mood or find a way to remedy it, it's possible you have a chemical imbalance in your brain. So don't put off visiting your doctor. Have an open and honest discussion about it with your healthcare team and see if they can do anything for you. But Everyone knows what it feels like to be cranky once in a while. You can go from happy-go-lucky to edgy and agitated without much explanation. Crankiness can cloud your day like an irritable and annoying ache. Don't ignore it. After all, crankiness doesn't only affect you, it also affects the people around you. The good news is that you are now armed with the knowledge of why you might be feeling cranky and what you can do to feel better. You can look stuff on these people's pages and stuff if you want more information, but we're a cranky old world. Dizziness and vertigo and multiple sclerosis. Uh, Dizziness versus vertigo versus lightheadedness. How are they different? Although dizziness, vertigo, and lightheadedness have similar and overlapping features, they describe different sensations. Dizziness refers to a feeling of overall physical imbalance. It may cause you to feel off balance or like you could fall while walking. Vertigo refers to a sense of spinning that continues even when you're still. The sensation can be intense, making you feel like you're spinning or the world is spinning around you, even if you're not moving. Now, isn't vertigo also when you feel like you're falling off a cliff and stuff like that? I get both of those type of issues, and I assume those are both vertigo related. Lightheadedness describes feeling like you may pass out or that your head feels too light. This is I get the Actually been more active. I want to say in the past 6 months, I've been getting the weird lightheadedness a lot, where everything just gets very weak, and I just feel like I'm gonna go out. I don't know what's up with that. My vertigo has been amped up. My dizziness, not so much, but ongoing dizziness and vertigo may interfere with daily tasks, increase the risks of falls, and even become disabling. In people with MS who experience other balance issues, these risks may be more pronounced. Uh, MS typically causes a type of vertigo known as central vertigo, which stems from problems in the central nervous system. Another more common type of vertigo is peripheral vertigo, which results from problems with the inner ear. And vertigo and dizziness may sometimes last for hours or days. They may also occur with other symptoms, including nausea, vomiting, vision problems, tinnitus, or hearing loss. I'm so sick of tinnitus. I've had that 24/7 for freaking the majority of my life. I'd say at least since high school. So yeah, it was a good possibility. Running a 350-ton press with those cheesy ass earplugs they gave us, or going to concerts and being in the front row down by the speakers hanging out, head banging. That probably wasn't good for it, but yeah. Uh, Inflammation from MS damages myelin, which is the protective layer that covers the nerve cells. Uh, this causes symptoms of MS, which vary according to the location of the lesions. For example, areas of demyelination in the cerebellum and brain stem are especially likely to cause dizziness. Other MS symptoms like impaired vision, fatigue can contribute to sensations of dizziness and vertigo. Other things that can cause vertigo: dehydration, certain medications, migraine, including vestibular migraine, air travel, uh, stroke or past stroke, low blood pressure, heart disease, kidney disease, and treatments. They have like medications and stuff your doctor can consider putting you on. Yeah, dimen dimenhydrinate, which is Dramamine, diphenhydramine, which is Benadryl, meclizine, which is Antivert, uh, scopolamine, which is Transderm Scop or Scopace or Matamar, and there's promethazine. There's physical therapy tailored for MS, may also help improve balance and coordination, but be careful because, I mean, those therapy sessions I just recently went through in the last year, it just made really irritated me that it's costing me $240 a session, and all you're doing is having me stand facing a wall or sit on a table, stand up, sit on a table, stand up. You're having me do little yoga stretches like the uh, warrior poses and stuff like that. And it's all stuff I know how to do. It's all stuff I can do at home. Put me on machines. Do stuff that's going to actually help me with certain things, be able to walk and not tip over and all that. I get you that we still need to do the balance stuff, but give us that for homework. And if we aren't doing it at home, then yes, force us to do it at therapy. But if I'm paying $240, I want to get on some machines and do some work. I don't want to just sit in a room and fall towards a wall without touching the wall or hitting the wall. Just kind of control your body from leaning forward a little or leaning back a little or standing on the tippy toes, all that stuff. Some home remedies you can do is sit down until it passes, avoid moving your head or body position, turning down bright lights, avoiding screens and reading, avoiding stairs, not driving until you're sure the vertigo has passed, moving very slowly when you feel better, drinking fluids, eating, and some other things you can do is clear your home of tripping hazards, especially throw rugs. Say we got wood floors now, so it's hard not to have throw rugs. I hate the texture of wood floors. I hate wood floors, period. The wife loves them all of a sudden. I don't think she used to. I thought she was a carpet person too. But yeah, this is. Then you gotta watch. Some throw rugs will just slip right out from underneath you, so you gotta watch that. So use a cane or walker, install handrails and grab bars. It's like we put the one handrail going upstairs. I want a second one. I don't prefer having two handrails. Use a shower chair. And there's lots of things you can try to help with it, but always talk with your medical staff and let them know how you're feeling so they can figure out what you can try and do. See, covert narcissism. Why is this? I don't think this is anything MS related. Uh, Covert narcissist has narcissistic personality disorder, NPD, but does not display a sense of self importance, often associated with the condition. They may deal with insecurity and low self esteem. Uh, these people might seem self centered or so focused on their own importance that they've lost touch with reality, or maybe they don't appear to care about others and rely on manipulation to get what they want. And really, reality NPD isn't that simple. It occurs on a broad spectrum that involves a range of potential traits. Covert narcissism usually involves fewer external signs of classic NPD. People still meet the criteria for diagnosis, but have traits that aren't usually associated with narcissism, including shyness and introversion, self consciousness, insecurity, defensiveness, and sensitivity to what others think of them. Signs of it are, and you got it, qualified mental health professionals can only diagnose this. You can't self-diagnose this and stuff. So definitely talk to someone. If you feel you have issues like this, if you notice these traits in a loved one, encourage them to seek support from a therapist trained to help people with personality disorders. Uh, high sensitivity, high sensitivity to criticism. Uh, which can manifest in covert narcissism. This sensitivity isn't unique to NPD, of course. Most people don't love criticism, even constructive criticism. Passive aggressiveness or passive aggression behavior, which can involve sabotaging someone's work or friendships, teasing or mocking remarks framed as jokes, silent treatment, subtle blame shifting that makes other people feel bad or question what really happened, procrastinating on tasks they consider beneath them, a tendency to put themselves down, uh, people boast their achievements, often by exaggerating or outright lying. Uh, they might speak modestly about their contributions with an underlying goal of earning compliments and recognition, or they may offer a compliment to get one in turn. And this has nothing to do with MS. I'm not going to go on about it. It basically gets into how it can happen, how it can affect, you may be going through depression, anxiety, emptiness, and all that, and that's causing you to become like this. But yeah, it's not for our MS stuff. Let's see if they updated the list of celebrities with MS. Christina Applegate, of course. She is one of the newer ones. And she's got the podcast now, Messy, that she co hosts with Jamie Lynn Sigler from The Sopranos. Applegate shared how her worsening pain symptoms keep her awake at night and often keep her in bed during the day. I just lie in bed all the time. I mean, I worked for almost 50 years, so I'm kind of okay with it, she said. But yeah, it can destroy your life. Selma Blair went many years undiagnosed with issues, symptoms, and stuff also. Um, by the time she was 7, she had symptoms affecting her left leg, right eye, and bladder. Doctors dismissed her symptoms of juvenile MS. Uh, she believes gender bias played a role in her delayed diagnosis. Sorry, honey, but I think I've had it since I was 5, and I didn't get diagnosed till I was 44. So she says, I really am in pain all the time. There's a stiffness that does not leave me. I hear you. It's severe pain that just does not want to back off. She underwent a bone marrow cell transplant. Since then, her MS has stayed in remission and she feels better than before. However, she still has various MS symptoms, and that's about her pains and stuff. Montel Williams, which I haven't heard from him in a long time. It's kind of a bummer. He was a big advocate for a while, and you're hearing more from him, but he manages his MS with a combination of medication, diet, exercise, and mindfulness practices. He has maintained an active life and is a strong advocate for the MS community. He also supports the use of medical marijuana for MS symptoms. He says, I've been using it for the past 10 years and will continue to do so for reducing pain in my lower extremities and mitigating spasticity when I sleep. He told the Los Angeles Times, and it works better for me than baclofen. It works better for me with a lot of the issues that you have, but the issues are still there. But it's not like when you take a freaking pain pill and opioid or something like that and you're just feeling funky. It actually does help with certain issues, and I wish the medical society would get their head out of their ass and let's start looking at more things. John King, he's a CNN correspondent. He was diagnosed with RRMS. He still faces challenges, including a lack of sensation in his legs, falling, and headaches. Daily tasks often need to be planned around his symptoms. And he says, but I have learned how to snowboard even though I can't really feel my feet, he said. And just once in 13 years since diagnosis have I had to miss a day of work because of MS. That's pretty good. Uh, Emma Caulfield Ford, she's a television actor also. Uh, Known for her roles in Buffy the Vampire Slayer and WandaVision. Uh, I can't think of what she played. Uh, she continued to work, but in the summer of 2020, while shooting WandaVision, she noticed that her heart triggered her symptoms, or the heat triggered her symptoms badly. She says the heat was unbearable and I was feeling every inch of that. I got really weak. I was very, very uncomfortable, and no one knew because I said nothing and I paid the price for that. Now she's an advocate for the MS Foundation and other groups. Uh, I'm surprised I haven't seen anything from her. She says, I'm very, very fortunate, but I'm also aware that with MS, this could all change tomorrow. I'm stable and I've made it a huge priority to do things, so I stay that way. There's Janice Dean, which is a news meteorologist. Uh, she says, I had such wonderful pregnancies and I temporarily forgot that I even had MS. And she shares more about her flare ups, which cause pain and other uncomfortable sensations, such as feeling sunburn on her neck. She has used her public platform and social medias to raise awareness for MS. Jack Osborne, uh, he's gone through depression, fear, fatigue because of the disease. Uh, had Looks like he had some hand issues. First noticed that his vision was impaired. Within 2 days, he lost 90% of his central vision and underwent a series of tests. An MRI showed lesions on his spine and brain, and he was diagnosed with MS. And Jamie Lynn Sigler from The Sopranos. Uh, she says, when I walk, I have to think about every single step. It's annoying and frustrating. Some of her symptoms she deals with a lot are needing to rest after walking for too long, not being able to run, and struggling to climb stairs. When I walk, I just read that. And like I said, she's part of the Messy podcast. And then a few other celebrities that have discussed their MS are Ann Romney, Mitt Romney's wife, Art Alexakis, frontman of the band Everclear, singers Clay Walker and David Osmond. Clay Walker, when he comes to Wisconsin to play, he usually does some type of MS get together thing. And anchor Neil Cavato. But yeah, it's looks like they upgraded the list a little bit from last time we were on there. It does say that it was updated on September of 2025, so that's always good when they update these things. And then crap gap, common thing in between MS infusions. The crap gap is a challenging period between multiple sclerosis medication infusions when symptoms may temporarily worsen, particularly for those taking disease modifying therapies. It's the crap gap, sometimes called the wearing off effect, can happen between intravenous infusions of MS medications. It may occur in the days or weeks before your next infusion as the medication starts to wear off. Some people may also notice symptoms right after an infusion before the medication has had time to fully work. It's I dealt with it with Ocrevus. Some people deal with it with natalizumab, which is Tysabri, or its biosimilar Tyruko. I've never heard of Tyruko. But yeah, it's like we always felt, and we talked about it with the nurses and stuff. Always felt that the infusion should have been kicked up by like 2 to 4 weeks. Uh, Eliminate that crap gap because it can't be good to be on a medication and then you're all of a sudden doing shit, having a bunch of issues with it, and then you get your next round of medication. And it's like that's just too much confusing attacks on the body. So I don't agree with that. I like many people think that they should move up the infusions a little bit by like 2 to 4 weeks, 6 week stops. But my biggest problem was not only the crap gap, I also had paperwork that wasn't sent to the right places, so I ended up missing my infusions and having to come back like a month later. So I was like really into the crap gap uh, portion of it. I had the wrong or the medication never sent into the hospital, so I'm sitting there, and they're like, "We have no medication for you. We got the medication you need here, but they need the one that's supposed to come from your insurance." And it's like, well, give me yours, and then when the insurance one comes, you can use that. Is mine like placebo or something? Is that why you gotta wait for mine? But you don't know. It's just a bag full of clear liquid. But yeah, it's crap. Crap gap sucks. It does not feel good. Uh, One member wrote, "Does anyone who takes rituximab notice anything different when it's time for another infusion? I am due for my second infusion in 4 weeks. The first was 6 months ago. I am feeling extremely drained and like I'm getting a cold. My left leg felt unsteady when I walked. Go away, fly. uh, when I walk down my break at work, maybe it's just happening on its own or it's infusion. The infusion, it just, I'm not even gonna read all this because it's anybody that's dealt with it knows it. It's just you can feel it. Your body is just getting weaker. Pains and issues are starting to ramp up. Uh, just your body knows it's time for more medication, but doctors and infusion companies and stuff won't do anything about it because they have to go by what they're told. So it's like you would think by this day and age, I've heard people bitch about it since 2014. So there's no reason someone shouldn't be looking into bumping these things up a little bit or having some type of test that you can test somehow on the amount of medication that's still left in a person's body. But when you take something once every 6 months or 3 months or whatever, it's like, yeah, it's going to be strongest when it starts. And as it lessens in our body, it's going to set off more events. I don't know. I'm not a big fan on long-term medical results, I guess, or medication results. I just when I went to the pain specialist and they put me on that patch, I felt like all the medication on that patch was coming into my body all that first day. And it's like, so I'm supposed to wear this patch for a couple weeks. Or no, I think it was like a month. And I'm getting so much medication right now. What's it going to do when it gets down to the second half of its lifespan? It's not going to have no medication left in the patch. And you got to watch touching the patch, rubbing the patch. That can increase the amount of medication that gets pushed into your system. And it's like, how do you not put pressure on it, rub against it and stuff? On your arm, you put clothes on, your clothes are going to rub against it and stuff. You don't think about it, you might itch over in that area. It just, I don't know how they regulate that stuff. Just, I feel like everything's stronger at the beginning and weakens itself out. And they should take into consideration in that. And granted, you don't want to go in for a bunch of infusions, like one every 2 weeks or so. That wouldn't be fun either, but if it helps with your body, you gotta do what you gotta do. But yeah, we hit our hour mark, so that's good for today. So keep following Under the Call of MS. Rate, review, subscribe, tell a friend, give us those likes, leave a comment. I'll comment back. Uh, Nothing new with me because I had my MS neurologist appointment last week, and I told you the results of that. So quick little checkup, and now we just gotta see how things go for the next year. Uh, but yeah, other than that, kick the shit out of the monster. Don't let them jump on your back and bug you all day. Uh, do what you can, feel your best, and listen to your medical staff. See if they can help you. If they can't, if they won't listen to you, then I suggest get rid of them, get a new medical staff. But it is hard finding, hell, in Wisconsin, it's hard finding an MS neurologist because most of the neurologists that I talked to didn't even have any MS background. So it's like, you got to take what you can find sometimes, but you may have to also move in order to find what you need, find what you want. So we'll be back again with more of these in the future. So keep an eye out for them. Usually every Monday, if I can, I put one out. So, all right, take care. Don't let that monster ruin your day, week, month, or year. Talk to you again soon. Bye.